That is good actually.
And this is a bit of a
Righto, this is a Rover 25, which of course you may be thinking, well, why is he doing a review on a Rover 25? That's all he seems to have, that's all he ever talks about, and now he's doing a review on a Rover 25. Well, it's because this one is slightly different. Boring, eh? Imagine that, me talking about a Rover again, but this isn't the same as any Rover that I've had. In fact, I have never driven a Rover like this, which might sound a bit surprising. I think it does. Yeah, I mean, it is just a 5-door Rover 25 in silver. And what's so unusual about that? It's a 52 plate, nothing unusual. It's a 1.6, that's kind of cool, but it's an automatic. Automatic, yes, that means you don't have to select the gears yourself. And I've never had a Rover 25 that does that. I've driven a Rover 75 with an automatic gearbox, and that wasn't very exciting, so why should this be? Anyway, that's not where I start my videos. I start my videos by having a look around, talking about the styling. Starting at the front, this is where silver does work, because these headlamps do give it more of a shark look about it. I don't know why it's a shark, especially with that there. It's like a shark with a moustache. Then of course we have this raised strip along the middle, and I can't remember what it's called. It gives it some definition, gives it some character, and it also helps detract from all the muck on the bonnet as well. It's a silver car. Silver cars are always owned by people that don't wash them. They seem to think you can get away with not washing them. No, it just means that they just end up dirtier than you need them to be. That's grotty. This is a really dirty car.
It means that they dragged their arse out of bed and didn't have time to wash it before driving 160 miles to the north. That's what it means. It lives under trees, what do you expect?
It lives 50 miles away. Walking around the side, we have this lovely bulbous wing there, which unusually doesn't have any rust on it. The mirrors with the caps that fit the 45 and the 75, which is most convenient. The 5-door, of course, has smaller doors than the 3-door. Did you know that? Well, if you didn't, you do now. But if you imagine if this had the same size door as the 3-door, the back door would be really small and it'd look really stupid. It has one of the best alloy wheels going of the time, the Coronets. That one's filthy. The back end of the Rover 25 is one of the cutest back ends of any car going, I think. I'm maybe a bit biased, but there's a reason for that. Yeah, I like them, but I like them because they're good, not the other way around. It has a boot. And it has a boot that you can operate with the button, which is very, very useful. My preference is the Mark 1, having the number plate there rather than there. Because the Mark 2 is this kind of gaping bit there that looks kind of a bit gormless. No handle on it, just massive Rover, which I believe they was trying to look modern. I've got a Rover 25 as well, in the same colour as this, MMB silver. Yeah. Mine's got parking sensors on the back. Why? You don't need parking sensors on the back of a Rover 25, it's about 10 foot long. But crucially, the difference between the 1 and the 2 is, well, the 1's nicer really, isn't it? Not just exterior wise, but also interior wise. Now notice this one has leather seats, just like mine, but they're actually nicer. These seats, much softer leather, much nicer to sit on. But this is only just the start of the Project Drive car. Being a 52 plate, it only just started, so there are quite a few good things in this car I can point out. The door cards are of a much nicer material. The dashboard is a much nicer material. How this car has managed to get to 20 years old without the roof lining sagging is quite extraordinary, but that's what's happened. It's the same in this 25 as any other though. The seating position is good. The seats are comfortable and there's enough leg room and enough headroom. And that's fine. What you really don't want to do is be climbing into the back if you're a grown-up though. Hasn't stopped me though, has it? The reason you don't want to be in the back as a grown-up though is because if you've got a grown-up driving the car, there isn't room for a grown-up in the back. And after all, grown-ups shouldn't be in the back of cars. Grown-ups drive cars. They don't get ferried around. Nice. This is an early car, but Project Drive has still managed to get its teeth into the good bits and ate them, and then replaced it with one of these carpets, and then gave you a plastic steering wheel. Did away with the heated mirrors and the illuminated ignition ring. And it doesn't stop there, does it? Look, this might be a small point, but look at the bonnet. There's no padding on the inside of it to take away some of the noise. But under the bonnet is where you will find the engine. And there the engine is, in exactly where you'd expect to find it, under the bonnet. And look at it. This is dirty, but it's acceptable to have a dirty engine bay because you don't eat your egg sandwich off of that, do you? No. How many times have you been driving along and your egg mayonnaise sandwich has fallen onto the floor? You just pick it up and eat it, don't you? But you wouldn't eat it if it had landed on there. Yeah, anyway, enough of that. That's a K-Series engine, as you most definitely will know. A 1.6 K-Series looks exactly the same as the 1.4 and the 1.8. And then down there is an automatic gearbox. But it's not an ordinary automatic gearbox. No, this is a rather special automatic gearbox indeed. It has a completely different gearbox altogether. It has a completely different gearbox. Anyway, without further ado, why don't I take it for a drive and see what this automatic gearbox, the CVT gearbox, is actually like. Because as daft as it sounds, I've never driven one on the road. Not gone very far before I'm stuck in traffic. As you can see, there's a chap next to me who's joined me to assess my driving. Make sure I bring it back in one piece kind of thing. Which I will do. I normally do. So what about the car? Yeah. You don't use your lumbar support. It's got lumbar support in there. Did you not know it had that? It's not working. Is it working? Yeah, it is a bit. It is working.
It's broken, you see.
I haven't broken it. It was already broken. 2,000 RPM. That's where it goes to. That's where it seems to want to stay. Does it do that right the way to its top speed or something? It was very quiet. It's very quiet, very smooth.
One of the things on my list is to take it somewhere where I can get to the upper echelons of the top speed, like the M54 or an Autobahn, and find out just how fast you have to go before it's forced to go above 2,000, or whether because of the nature of the CVT it literally stays at 2,000 ad infinitum.
Interesting.
It is actually. I've got no idea how it works.
And here we are again at another set of lights. So I can't really talk about how the car's driving while I'm not driving it. But I will say that as with all Rover 25s, it just seems to go along without any knocks or clonks or anything unsavoury. Try saying that about a Rover 75.
Really? Yeah.
Okay, this is where I normally put my foot down a little bit. So let's do that. Oh, that's 3,000 RPM. That's 3,000 RPM. That's 3,000 RPM. That's 3,000 RPM. God, it could get a bit boring, this, couldn't it, really?
Yeah, this is an island. You might want to apply the brakes.
I'm not going to go over it. Now, I must say, that didn't pick up exactly that well. Let's do that again. Back to 3,000 RPM. 40. 40 and I'm still 40. So this is where the sport button needs to be activated. Is that right? Otherwise it'll just carry on going at 3,000 RPM all the time, and that will become quite tedious.
Yeah, except that it's not actually a button. You you move the gear further over to the right into the sequential shifting quadrant.
I gotta go down here. I gotta pull over here. Sport drive. That's a rather different experience altogether, actually, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that what you meant by it being quick?
Yes.
Go around the other side. Foot down again. Oh, that's alright actually. Yeah. That's reasonably pleasing. In sport mode, can you drive it without it doing all that revvy stuff though? Here's what I'm finding out. It's at 2000 RPM. And yeah, then it goes up a bit, which is what you'd expect. I'm going to turn around the roundabout to come back up the other way. Hopefully I won't have any HGVs or learner drivers or people in Volkswagen vans to get in my way. I don't think it's going to happen though.
Drop it down manually as you come out of the island.
That is good actually. And very, very smooth indeed. It does sort of lurch around a bit, doesn't it? Do you know what I noticed? On your 75 you got one of these things knocking about. It's in the way. It's in the way of the camera.
Well, there's an easy answer to that.
Is that the solution? And you don't go messing around with other men's magic trees though. It's not an ordinary automatic gearbox anyway, so it's not really a problem. Look at this chap with his red windscreen. What's all that about? It's not red on the inside though. Most Rover 25s come fitted with electric windows, and usually they work, and they work on this one. Is it a convenience though, or is it an inconvenience when they stop working? The one thing about a winder is that if it's getting stuck somewhere, you can feel it, but the electric motor doesn't really understand that, and it'll just carry on going until it bends all of the mechanism apart. I've seen that a few times. Have you?
No.
Right. Well, this has been a rather unusual car review because normally I come up with all sorts of daft things to say about a car, but today I simply can't do that. It's very difficult to say anything daft about a Rover 25 because it's just not a daft car, and it's definitely not driven by daft people. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe and share every single one of my videos right now. Looks like it's been crying dirty tears. Yeah, I like this car. I knew I was going to like it. And having an automatic gearbox, having a CVT gearbox is kind of cool. And the best thing about it is you can't put it into Sports Park. But under the bonnet is where you will find the engine, and there the engine is. Here's a question: what would I prefer, this car or my very own 25, which is 3 years newer? I'll tell you, I prefer this one. This is a particularly good car for people who are rather worried because you can keep both hands on the steering wheel all the time. Yeah, not any automatic gearbox would do for this car. No, it's got a very different one altogether, hasn't it?
No, that didn't work.
So with that there, it's like a shark with a moustache. And then here's the bowler hat on top of that. I've driven a Rover 75 with an automatic gearbox, and that wasn't.
I hated it.